everybody, today I am reviewing the ESP LTD H1001. Now, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the brand. I mean, I did that Aero V last year, and that thing was absolutely magnificent. It's one of my favorite guitars in my collection. This is a very close second. This is a really great guitar. Now, in 2020, I unboxed this thing, and I never quite got around to finishing the review on it, mainly because I was too busy using it. And I realized it's like, hey, I really need to do a dedicated video on this. So if somebody's in the market for an LTD guitar, you might want to pay attention to this next bit. Now, just jumping right into it, here's what I like about this and what I don't like. The good and the bad. The Anakin Skywalker versus Rey Skywalker. In the Anakin category, the really high points on this one are tuning stability. It just is rock solid. You only got to do maybe a couple of minor adjustments on this guitar as you're tracking it throughout the day. But this thing is rock freaking solid, that's for sure. It's super comfortable. It sits on the left leg, sits on the right leg. It works either way. What can I say? There's a bevel on the back here. It's just made to be a long day studio kind of weapon thing. And one of the big things about metal guitars anyway is once you start putting a lot of gain on them, they tend to lose their individuality a little bit. So looks becomes a very big factor in your guitar. We've got this quilted maple finish, and it's absolutely gorgeous. In the Rey Skywalker category, the only fault I have on this is the fact it's $12.99 US. It's not exactly the cheapest instrument out there, but then again, it's not stupidly expensive either. It is going to hurt a little bit, though, for people working part-time jobs and whatnot, but in the long run, it probably is worth it. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Damn it! Happens every freaking time, I swear! This guitar plays like butter. It is so slick. It's so easy to play. I don't know what the hell the ESP guys did to this thing, but it's just awesome. So yeah, this would be a guitar I would hand to a client if they brought something less than spectacular into the studio. Yeah, like that ever happens. Anyway, just real quick here. You can see I've got a strap on this guitar, and thought we'd do the drop test just to see what we get here. So, how top heavy is this guitar? Okay, cool. You can jump around like an idiot on stage. You don't have to worry about it being super top heavy or getting out of your hands or anything like that. Yeah, this sits very comfortably. Gonna shout out here to DiMarzio, who hooked me up with this strap. This is super comfortable, and it's got these little safety releases on it, so your guitar is not going anywhere. You could probably do an Yngwie spin, but I don't quite have the space in here to do that. I will probably break something, but at least I know the guitar isn't going to go flying anywhere. So hey, thanks to DiMarzio for the strap. This is quite awesome. Now, pickups wise, we do have a coil tap thing, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Push-pull thingy-majig. I'm sure you guys there in the comments are going to correct me on what exactly that thing is called, so please clue me in. We got this pickup here. We got that pickup there. Yeah, it does the thing. It does it very, very well. But what I love the most about this guitar is the tuning stability. As a guy who tracks guitars for days on end, the fact that I don't have to reach and retune this thing every 2 minutes is a huge time saver when you're working in the studio. I can't even begin to remember how many times clients have come in with guitars that just do weird things as soon as we get a few bodies here in the studio, because things start heating up and necks start doing the warpy thing. This thing is just absolutely freaking rock solid. So hey, hats off to LTD for making a very, very reliable instrument in that regards. Now, my first studio encounter with the LTD brand goes back to 2006 when I was doing the Black Creek Power of Reality album. And that was a record I had my first real big breakthrough guitar sound on. Was very happy with how that turned out. And we worked with a couple of MH1000s back in the day, the 2006 models, and they were just, again, rock solid in terms of tuning stability. And, you know, it was easy to get the tracks done. I think we did that whole record in just a couple of days. That's including track, drums, and guitars. And we were doing 4 rhythm tracks for that. It was one of those great sessions, you know, where the band comes in, they're very well rehearsed, they know exactly what they got to do, and the instruments don't give you any grief. It's rare that happens, but I've always got some very happy memories of tracking those H1000s back in those days. So when I got hold of LTD and said, hey, do you guys want to do something? They sent me one of these. I'm like, fuck yes, that's great. Now, one observation I am going to make here is that this guitar is badged as made in Korea, so I'm taking a wild guess that it came out of the same factory that the Arrow came out of that I did the review on earlier this year. And I'm not faulting that at all. I'm going to say this guitar does remind me in some respects of being very, very similar to one of my absolute favorites here in the studio, and that's my Spectre Hellraiser. Now, if we take a look at the 2 guitars here, we can see quite a few similarities in terms of body styling and whatnot. They do look pretty damn similar, and the Hellraiser is indeed made in Korea. Even the headstocks are very, very, very similar. So can't say for certain, but I'm going to take a wild guess that these did come out of the same factory. The one advantage here I find with the LTD, though, is that it plays just a little bit better, and the neck is just a little bit thinner. I love my Hellraiser, but the neck does tend to feel like a baseball bat just a little bit. This is a little bit more acceptable. It's a little bit slicker. It's a little bit easier to play. So I think the advantage here does go to LTD. Oh, hell yeah. This guitar is just chunky as fuck. It plays great. I can't stop saying good things about it. And that's the thing. You guys have seen my guitar reviews. You know how I treat bad guitars. This, I really can't find very much wrong with. That one's for all you Bad News fans out there. Anybody who was at that Castle Donington show knows exactly what song I was playing there. Yeah, I think LTD really did knock this one out of the park. You know, some people don't care for the painted neck back, and that's not ever really been a big hang up for me. I'm like, a guitar is a guitar. I can move my hand up and down the neck just fine. It doesn't get sticky or anything like that. So if you guys out there, some of you are running into issues with necks painted on the back, I don't know, try washing your fucking hands, you fucking Neanderthals! I'm more concerned with, you know, how the strings feel on the frets and how comfortable the guitar is, and does the guitar stay in tune. And I got happy to report that this thing really delivers the goods on all of those fronts. Fuck! Son of a bitch! Motherfucker! I hate it when that happens! It's like, I'm fucking recording, you bastard! I gotta figure out a way how to mute that on my computer. It's like, son of a bitch, way to ruin a fucking perfect take! Ah! You turn my fucking phone off or something like that. Technology, you gotta love it and hate it all at the same time. Let's try that one more time. Well, that completely took me out of the zone. I can't even get back into the groove of that riff. So let me play you guys something else. That's a little bit more like it. Guys, seriously, take it my advice. If you are tracking guitars, turn your phones off, mute out, however the hell that's hooked into. I've obviously got to do some homework and figure out how to get that disconnected from my Mac, because that is the most annoying thing ever. I don't need that happening in the middle of my recording sessions, that's for sure. How many of you guys has that ever happened to? Just wailing away and then it just shocks you out of it and then you gotta, spend 10 minutes getting back in the zone. Anyway, okay, let's move on to the specs here. All right, you can find this guitar over at Sweetwater and Thomann, of course. What we've got here is a solid body LTD H1001 with a mahogany body, quilted maple top, gloss finish, and the color is see-through black. And yes, it does look pretty damn badass. It comes with a hip shot bridge that's string through body and comes with LTD locking tuners. And I gotta say, that's another advantage this guitar has over my original Hellraiser. This one ships with locking tuners and I had to add in some aftermarket ones onto that guitar. So the advantage goes to LTD, not only in terms of neck thickness and playability, but for the tuners as well. Good job, LTD. Now for electronics, in the neck, we've got the Seymour Duncan Sentient Humbucker, and on the bridge, we've got the Seymour Duncan Pegasus. Don't be fooled by any of that, guys. As soon as you start adding gain, the differences between pickups is about that big. See my video on that where we shot them out. I was kind of shocked by just how little difference it really made. So if you think you're going to eventually need to upgrade the pickups in this, no, you're not. Now, the case I got with my guitar actually ships separately, and so that is one caveat because the guitar is already $12.99 US over at Sweetwater, so the case would be an added expense, so just keep that in mind. If you're a gigging musician, you might want to think about getting the case option and put a couple extra $100 aside for that, because I would really recommend it, protecting this thing, because this is an absolutely killer guitar. This is probably something you could buy that would last you your entire life. Okay, I know the next part of that, but I've still got that one under construction. I still got to get some of my fingering correct here as well. Spoiler alert, guys, not everybody on YouTube is an absolutely perfect guitar player. Yes, we can make flubs and flaws and all that kind of stuff, and that's perfectly fine, especially you guys out there who want to learn guitar. Don't think you've got to be perfect all the time. No, there is a learning curve involved. And when you see somebody playing with absolute perfection online, what you're actually seeing is just an awful lot of editing. Still working on that part. It's like down here, jumping up here and getting that on time. The first part I've almost got down. The second part is like, it's so close, but it needs a little bit more time. I'm going to keep working on that. That's for sure. Hopefully I'll get that right in a couple of months. I've been working on it forever. Eventually it is going to happen. I've just got to put in the work. All right, now for the 5-star rundown on this guitar. Let's look at the different categories. So for fit and finish, I gotta give it a 5. This is just absolutely fantastic. I've had this guitar for a while now. There's no fret creep to speak of. It just came out of the box like absolute perfection. I think I might have put a tiny ding in here. I don't think you can see it, but I certainly didn't have any complaints about it. And once again, Gibson could probably take some hints on how to finish a guitar from the fine folks at ESP LTD, because this is how to do it, folks. In terms of packing, it came in a hard shell case, so that's my own experience. Once again, you probably got to pay a couple extra bucks to get a hard shell case, but it is definitely worth it to protect your investment. Please consider that before you pull the trigger on this guitar. Setup. This honestly has to be one of the best setup guitars I've had come out of the box. I didn't have to change anything. When we got it, it played like butter, and I put on my signature 10 to 54 gauge strings on this. It's tuned to a D, and it just plays beautifully. I haven't had to touch anything. I haven't had to adjust the neck. I haven't had to adjust the intonation. It's just perfect. So great job there, guys. Well done, that's for sure. And this is the thing I've seen come up on a number of reviews. Some guys are like, oh, well, you know, they got to ship with the truss rod loose. They got to do this. They got to do that. And I'm like, well, why do I keep getting all these guitars just set up like absolutely fucking amazing, fresh out of the box? Even Harley Benton can manage to pull that off in some cases. I remember, you know, for way of comparison, that Mustaine V I got, I had to adjust the neck to get it to play correctly. Once it was set, it was fine. But the fact that I even had to do that really sucked. Whereas this thing just came out of the box, ready to go. I didn't have to touch anything. And that shows attention to detail. So congratulations to LTD on that. And components, once again, gotta give 5 stars on this. The electronics do the thing, you know, the hip shot bridge is really comfortable to play. You know, you put the strings in, goes here, it does the thing. The fact it came with locking tuners is great. The tuning stability on this guitar is second to none. This is one of the most rock solid guitars I've got. And this guitar is an absolute ultimate studio weapon because you don't have to keep retuning it. And that's one of the biggest things I look for in a guitar. So if you're in a desktop recording or whatnot, yeah, this might be just the ticket. Now, this is rare here on the show because the overall score for this guitar is 5 stars. The only caveat is the price tag, but hey, at $12.99, it's not exactly out of reach for a lot of guys. You might have to do some scrimping and savings, that's for sure, but you know, for the average person working a day job, that kind of thing, this, you could probably afford to get one of these. I'd really recommend getting the case to go with it though. But then again, it's not an overpriced model from a certain American brand that charges a lot for shitty paint. And, you know, I'm really wondering about this. I've been looking at this. I've been playing it for a while and I'm thinking, does it get any better? I mean, like, I think your only option to get a better instrument than one of these would probably be to get a custom shop instrument from a local luthier or maybe even something from the ESP custom shop in Japan or Los Angeles or something like that. Other than that, you know, for an off-the-line guitar, this is about as good as it gets, I've got to say, because it's about as close to perfect as it's going to get. So I give this guitar a very enthusiastic 5 stars overall. Top marks for this thing. It's just an absolute fucking beast. So congratulations to ESP LTD for that, because that's an absolute first on this show. Well done, guys. A fantastic guitar. This is going to be one of those you can have it when you pry it from my cold, dead hands kind of guitars. Fantastic stuff. And if you want to see some more stuff on ESP LTD, please check out my review on the Arrow, because that is an absolute beast of a flying V, and it's definitely worth the price of admission as well. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet and you find these kind of videos useful, please do, because I'm getting ever so closer at the time of shooting this to 500,000, which is my goal, and I need your help to make it happen. Thanks again, and make sure you check out the V video.